Years ago, when Aaron and I first moved to Bremerton from Seattle, we were at a gathering listening to a friend that we knew share about the nonprofit that he had started. And our hearts were moved. We just knew we needed to do something, anything to be a part. The nonprofit is called Atlas Free, and they do incredible work around the world fighting trafficking, helping women and children that have been sold for sex slavery. They're on the front lines of new legislation in the US and just so much deep good work. But here we were in our everyday life thinking, what can we actually do? I'm just a mom from Bremerton. At the time, our kids were really little, and I thought, I don't think there's anything that I can actually do to make a difference. What I've realized since then is that I'm not alone in that thought, that so many of us are sitting in our everyday lives thinking, here I am, what can I do? When we were driving home from that gathering all those years ago, I had this I'm just going to say it's a God thought, and it felt super crazy because it felt so normal. But I thought, what if we just do what we already do? What if we invite our friends for dinner, which we always do. We love having people at our table and opening our home in the midst of projects and life and all of the busyness and fullness of the days. There is so much joy in gathering. And so we thought, well, let's just do what we already do. Let's invite friends to dinner, but here's the catch. We're going to ask each of them to give a donation to Atlas Free. So we'll do all the work. We'll set the table. We'll cook the food. We'll make it this amazing experience. But will you come and give a donation? And that one crazy, very small thought is how our whole life changed. We didn't realize it at the time, but truly dinner was going to change everything for us. We sent that first invitation out, and I'm going to tell you, I was so nervous because I thought, what are people going to think? We're inviting our friends to dinner and saying, oh, by the way, you have to pay to come over. It felt so ballsy, and I just knew we had to do something, and this was the thing that I could do. I could invite. We had 7 friends come to that very first dinner, and I'm so grateful that they came and sat at our table, because those 7 friends being willing to come gave me personally the guts to host another dinner. And here's what started to happen is we would post the pictures that we had done a dinner, and so many people would respond and say, oh my word, this is so cool. I want to come to the next one. Well, we had no great intentions that we were going to be hosting multiple of these dinners. We just knew we needed to do something. And then our community started to reach out and say, hey, I saw that you're going to do that dinner. I want to donate the wine, or can I bring decor? Can I help you wash the dishes? Hey, can I come and be a part? And that is when we realized we were not alone in this desire to do something, to do more than just give the $20 out of our wallet, but to truly connect our everyday life to a way to help these women and children who desperately need freedom. And I just would always come back to this thought. What if it was me? What if it was our kids? Oh my goodness, I would do anything to help them. So of course I'm going to open the table. Of course we're going to invite people to come. And that dinner that we hosted, which I think was about 11 years ago now, has turned into us hosting hundreds of people at our backyard table, which turned into our orchard table, which has turned into more and more people like Molly Marigold donating her beautiful artwork as a gift to the people that are coming, flower farmers bringing flowers, local people who are wine connoisseurs bringing wine. The dinners have become the most powerful way that our community is fighting trafficking. All of the ways that our community is doing everyday life, the art, the beauty, the work has now become the way that they get to give back. And even here in the midst of everyday life at our house, Aaron put that last board on the fence, and he was cleaning it up the night that people were coming for dinner. Because this is real life. The fence looks so good. He worked so hard. And what an honor that we get to welcome people down our driveway and welcome them to our table and look them in the eye and say, we are here using our everyday life to do such beautiful, deep work. After we had been hosting the dinners for about a year, we had another crazy idea. What if we write a cookbook that tells the story about our community? Hosting the Freedom Dinners, let's give more people our recipes and the menus that we use to host and ideas and tips to make it so easy for them to host. Because guess what? Our table isn't unique. Our community isn't unique. And we have found this over and again that it simply requires one person being willing to invite, to open their table and to invite people to be a part, to invite people to sit at the table. And the cool thing is that as we began to write that book, we started to find more and more people that wanted to be a part. And if you've seen our book, it is stunning. And it isn't just because of me, it's because of our amazing friend who took the photos and the incredible people that helped make each of those dinners possible. When you flip through the book, those photos are from the Freedom Dinners. Those are from what our community is creating right here at our table. And I look at them and think, I never thought that crazy little idea that popped into my heart and mind would have become such a beautiful force for freedom. I know for myself, all those years ago, when I had that thought, my everyday life felt mundane, routine. I was going to cook dinner again. We're going to clean the house again. And I could go through all of these thoughts of like, I'm doing this again. And I just had lost the focus of the purpose behind it all. And I'm so grateful that we were brave enough to start hosting the dinners, because it helped me personally to see even better the deep meaning all of this everydayness has. It's not just mixing up a batch of cornbread. This is about bringing our people to the table, even if it's just our family, that we would be able to connect. And I always knew, like, I've had this deep love of gathering people and so much satisfaction in the work of it, planning it and planning for people. Like, I have loved it, but the dinners helped shine a light on it in a new way that I needed. I needed to see that this wasn't just another batch of cornbread. This wasn't just another dinner or cleaning another dish or washing another load of laundry. I needed to see the direct link between this everyday life and how it was helping people, how it was connecting people. And that's what the dinners are doing. And not just for me, but for the people that come and help at them. So here's how the dinners work, because they're so cool. And I just can't even really take credit for it. I believe so deeply that it was a God idea and that our community has helped shape it in the most beautiful way. So every single person that helps and works at a Freedom Dinner is a volunteer. No one is getting paid. Every single thing that we use to design the menu, to design the table, from the flowers to the printed menus to the candles, everything that we use is donated for use. Which means when our guests give a donation to reserve their seat at the table, they actually give their donation directly to Atlas Free. And Atlas Free has these really great programs where you can set up a campaign page. And so we have a campaign page. We get to see when people give that donation to reserve their seat. And that donation gets to go directly to the people who need help, because none of it is getting lost in us buying a lighter to light the candles, or paying somebody to come and wash dishes, or paying because we need to get some more greens for the salad. None of the cost of the dinner is taken out of the donation so it can go and help those who need it. And what I love so much is that the more that we extend the invitation, the more that our community reaches out and says, hey, I have a little farm. Can I provide the greens for the salad? Can I come? I'm a local baker. Can I make the dessert? I am a local winemaker. Can I give you wine? And the list goes on. So what we have done now is we have broken down every single aspect of the dinner and invite people specifically to cover that. Maybe they're an artist and they're going to draw all of the art that we use on the menu. Maybe they cleaned out their cupboard and they're donating dishes for us to use. So many of the dishes that are in our cellar now that we use for these dinners came from people giving them to us because they said, I cleaned out my hutch and I don't need all these teacups. Here, I have extra sets of silverware. I have extra bowls. The everydayness of life is filling this table in the most beautiful way. Even the tables that we use, these farm tables that are in every single photo that you see of our orchard, were gifted to us. We had done an event for a gentleman, and he said, I really want to make farm tables for us to use at this event. And when the event was over, he gave them to us and said, please use these for the dinners. I would be so happy for you to take them. And this is truly how our business, Cider Press Lane, began. We were hosting the Freedom Dinners, and we, in the first year, hosted 10. Almost every single month that year, we hosted another dinner. There were so many people reaching out saying, I want to come to the next dinner. I want to come and be a part. And honestly, it was so deeply satisfying to my heart to see this connection between our community and being able to help people and people being able to use this thing that they love to do as a way to be a part, that we just kept hosting more. And then the guest list started turning into more and more people that we didn't even know. We had never met these people before. And I would look around the table welcoming them and just thinking, these people are so brave to come to this. And what that told me even more is how deep the desire is in all of our hearts to be a part of something big and to know that our everyday life is making a beautiful impact. And at one of those dinners, a friend had brought a friend, and that friend was getting married. And she looked around the table and said, I love your style. Can I please hire you? Will you help me design my wedding? Will you run it for me? Well, I had never thought that I could ever make money planning or designing events. It just had never crossed my mind. And her invitation to be a part of her wedding is what launched our business. And for the first 5 to 6 years of the business, as it grew, our kids were growing up, and I would take as much work as I could, but Aaron still worked full time at our local church. And we just kept saying yes to opportunities. And yes, we would love to be in that magazine article. And yes, we would love to come and be on the local TV show. And yes, we want to host more dinners. And I'd love to design your wedding. And the business just continued to grow. And after COVID, we just knew it was time to give it everything. That Aaron and I needed to give it our full attention completely. And he stepped away from his position leading worship at our church. And we said, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be filling this table. We're supposed to be gathering people. We're supposed to be encouraging people to fill their tables. And since then, as the business has continued to thrive, because now it has our full attention, we host all sorts of local events, workshops, and evenings in the garden. You can come and learn floral design with me. You can come and make wreaths during the Christmas holiday. Our friend who is a local flower farmer, this is Carolyn. We met because of the dinners and became fast business buddies. And she has her own local flower farm. She does florals and weddings and all sorts of beautiful stuff with her flower farm. And we also get to collaborate on events throughout the year. One of the biggest ones being our Christmas wreath workshop. You'll have to come. It's at her flower farm. It's so beautiful and just the most, people tell us it's like stepping into a Hallmark movie, which is quite the compliment. But Aaron and I just knew we wanted to see these freedom dinners grow. And the really cool thing is that as we've had more time to invest in them, we've had more opportunity. And it doesn't matter if you don't live here in our area, because they are beginning to pop up all over the place. And if you are thinking, I want to see a freedom dinner happen here in my community, I know people in vineyards and flower farmers, and I know people here in my community want to be a part, reach out to us. We work with Atlas Free now to help them. And we don't work for Atlas Free, but we work alongside them to help communities start freedom dinners to be able to give back to Atlas Free. And last year we were able to work with a couple new communities, one in North Carolina, one here a little bit closer to us. And it's so cool to see them now. We're cheering them on as they're getting ready to host their next dinner. Because this is the beauty of doing life together and inviting your community to be a part. There's so much longevity in it. So I know a lot of these videos you see Aaron and I getting things prepped and ready. And that's our biggest contribution to the dinners, is that we get our space ready for the team to arrive. And then everybody starts trickling in. The flowers start getting delivered. The wine starts getting prepped. The team starts arriving. And the first thing that we do is we get the tables set, because we want to make sure that the place settings are ready for our guests when they arrive, because nobody comes in a rush. They are coming now for this experience to enjoy the leisure of an evening together that is making this huge impact. But we always want the table to be ready for them. And one of my biggest rule is that we will have place cards. And the reason why we always have place cards isn't because it's fancy schmancy. It's because we want every guest who comes to the table to be able to look and see that we prepared for them, we are ready for them, we have a place at the table for them. And several years ago, we got to host a dinner specifically for a group of trafficked survivors here in the U.S. And we were working with Atlas Free on this special dinner, and they had hand-selected the guests that were going to come because they were pouring into them, helping them with all of the new endeavors in their lives, and we wanted to have them for dinner. And as those women came to the table, I thought, oh my goodness, did I do something that offended them? Because I would never want to do that. And here they were. They stepped up to the table and saw their names at the table and looked at me and said, no one invites me in. Nobody would have us at their table. And I thought, what? Why? Here we are with extra seats, extra food in our cupboards, so much extra to give. Why would we not invite them in? And I just am so grateful for that experience, because it made me think about each guest that comes to our table and how much they needed the invitation to come and sit, to be together. You know, we all are walking through our lives, and we can look and see and think that people feel connected and they feel like they have a place and belonging, but we just don't know what's happening truly in their hearts. And so as we set this table, I just am always thinking about the guest that's going to sit in that seat and how special that we get to welcome them in. And one time we had a guest that was sitting at the table at one of the freedom dinners, and he looked at me and he said, I have never sat at a table with this many people. And he just was soaking it in. And that's the beauty of community, is honestly, we could not do this on our own. We could not continue to host the dinners over and over without help, without people being a part. When we were about to host our first dinner, this thought just continued to go through my mind of, why were we born here in this land of opportunity? Not that we've had everything given to us. We've worked hard for what we have in our lives, but I wasn't born in a slum in India, and I wasn't born in a small village in Africa. I was born here. And there's a responsibility that comes with that. What am I going to do with this opportunity? Is it meant simply for me to consume and to just grow this garden for ourselves? Is this meant for us just to, create this life that we love and not invite anyone in? Is it meant for us to use it as a powerful tool? And that's the coolest thing, is that since we started hosting the dinners, I feel like we've had this beautiful answer to that we have been able to truly craft our business to reflect what we love in life, and then use that as a way to create beautiful community, but also as a way to fight trafficking. Whenever you join us here in the garden, or at the kitchen, or at our table, whenever you're cooking or baking with me or gardening with us, whenever you come to any of our events or you purchase one of our books or any of the items from our shop, you can know that we are donating 10% of all of our profits to Atlas Free, because this stretches far beyond our little table here. This gets to stretch into your community too, and I just can barely wrap my mind around it. I love it so much. I love that our table gets to welcome you in. I love that you get to be a part of it. And so we're so glad that you are here at Cider Press Lane with us. This is the beauty of doing life together and using our everydayness to give such beautiful freedom.